Welcome back to the Webby and O'Neill channel. David Ornstein has given updates on Rasmus Højlund and United's search for the striker in this summer's transfer window. Get involved, have your opinions in the comments section, and we'll try and discuss them throughout today's video. First of all, Rasmus Højlund, updates from David Ornstein. You've read the article. Your first overall thoughts?
Well, he's talking about United having to spend a lot of money on a striker and bringing him in. Depends on getting rid of Rasmus Højlund. It shouldn't depend on that. We need two strikers. He's the only recognised number 9. So for me, United are out there. They have been searching since day one for a striker. I've not heard any reports of Rasmus Højlund being offered anywhere. I think United have had it in the mind for a long time to keep Rasmus Højlund for this season. And hopefully Amorim can turn him round.
As you can see, though, he always words it very, very carefully, I find, David Ornstein. Everything that he puts out, it's always on point. And I'm looking at the part where it says spending significantly on a centre-forward would require Højlund leaving, sorry.
Yeah.
Significantly. Now, what is significant? What fee is significant? 60 million, 70 million, 80 million? I mean, is £30 million significant? I don't think it is. I think there is some money there to actually still spend on a striker, like we can go back to with Liam Delap. 30 million was put in for a bid. I think there's still 30 million there that they can spend on a striker. When you look at Benjamin Sesko, rumours around 70 to 75 million. Ollie Watkins, 60 million. That's when I believe Højlund would have to leave.
I'm not too sure about that. You've got to cast your mind back. At no point did anyone say getting Liam Delap depends on Rasmus Højlund going. And like I say, there was no reports then of United trying to push Rasmus Højlund out. I did not see any clear
because
approach.
It's not a significant fee, though, is it, though, for Liam Delap? Let me know if you think I'm wrong out there, but £30 million, if you go into what Ornstein's saying, isn't a significant fee.
I think when you look at how United have done the deals, especially with Mbeumo, with the payments, £30 million is a significant amount of money when you look at PSR and how United have got the money to spend. That's the problem, and that's why the Mbeumo deal took so long, sorting out the payments, the instalments. So £30 million cash could have put United on the edge. So for me, £30 million in the big thing, when you're talking about strikers, 70, 100 million, 30 million isn't a lot of money, but it is when you're looking after the business, when you're looking after the accounts and the PSR. That's the problem. So for United, Delap, you want two strikers anyway. And United, for me, and I've been consistent with this, Højlund is staying. He wants to stay. He likes being at United, which you would expect, but he's got a lot of work to do. And this pre-season, would Amorim change his mind? I'm not too sure. I think there's a plan, and they're sticking with it.
Paul P from our members club says spending significantly would require to have the money in the kitty.
Yes.
And would the Villa or any other club would they be prepared to let their striker go, especially if they're under contract? And like I say there, I'm still confident that Manchester United will sign a striker in this summer transfer window, whether Højlund's still in a Man United shirt or not. It's just a matter of if Højlund does stay, what sort of calibre, what sort of CV is the striker going to have who we do bring in?
I think they're still exploring. I think they've, since they got knocked back with Delap, I think they're out there looking. You talk about certain players, what we've been linked with. They've gone for a lot of money. And obviously Mbeumo, according to Ornstein, was the top target. So I think if they can pinch a striker at a reasonable price, I think they'll go for it. If they can do a deal, we did speak about a deal possibly with Aston Villa. There's rumours of Garnacho going there, or looking at Aston Villa, shall I say. So you just don't know. But I think the big significant thing about all this is, are Manchester United looking to get rid of Rasmus Højlund? Do they think they can get value for money? And many people out there, and especially me, and Kieron as well, I don't think the money's out there to pay for Rasmus Højlund, because United would want something back. He's been here at United for 2 years, and I think they're giving him one more year under Ruben Amorim, a fresh start, and try to get him playing football. But the team is going to change. And he's not the only one under pressure this year. And we all know Onana's the same thing. One more year. But that's my opinion. One more year for Rasmus and one more year for Onana. Because they've got to significantly improve. There's no two ways about it with Højlund. We know that. We can all see. We've all got our own eyes. But the thing is, it cost a lot of money, and he has been brought in to improve these players, Ruben Amorim. And I think he's got to get down to work. He's got a full pre-season, and let's see what happens.
Like I mentioned earlier, I still think there's £30 million there put to one side, what we didn't actually go and get with Liam Delap. So I think that money's still there to go and get a striker. But like I'll go back to, that to me isn't a significant fee that when you look at the likes of maybe Gyökeres, Cesco, Ollie Watkins. And I think if any of them players in particular, Watkins or Cesco, Højlund would have to leave. And a lot of people out there still mention the likes of Matheus from Crystal Palace. But Crystal Palace, for me, when I rack my brains there, they always want a high transfer fee for any of their players when they get moved on.
Yeah, I think how you've got to look at it, if you're convinced, certainly, and looking at £30 million, yes, I think it possibly could still be there. And if it is still there, then I think bringing in a striker, it's not right now. I think what they'll do is towards the end of the window, they'll go bargain hunting, and they have to bring in a striker. There's no two ways about it, because Rasmus Højlund won't change at this moment without help, and we'll see if he gets the help on the pre-season. But I think it's towards the end of this transfer window where a deal could be done to brought in. But right now, like I say, I go back to it. Højlund wants to stay here. United don't look as though they're trying to push him out of the club. They're trying to work with him, and he's going on the pre-season. You would have thought if United wanted to get rid of him, they would have already made the moves for it, and he wouldn't even be looking at going on the pre-season. He would have been looking to get out, do a deal somewhere, and then move on and get his own pre-season with a new club. That doesn't look as though it's happening anywhere. And like I say,
that could all change though. Come the end of this pre-season. I mean, I'm not just pinpointing Højlund here. There might be one or two other players where Amorim just looks at it and thinks, listen, I've got no need for you in this squad going forward at United. And they might have that conversation and be put up on like the transfer list. Who knows? But for me, Højlund, I mean, I always go on and say every player here at the club, they've got 2 years to prove themselves, show themselves. And Højlund, amongst others, they've had 2 years for me. And I just can't ever see him being that actual main man, that first choice striker here at Manchester United.
Yeah, but the players have 2 years, okay? And then we can see what's happened with Højlund. But the thing is, this is a new system now, okay, which is going to be put in place with players what Ruben Amorim's brought in, and hopefully bring in 1 or 2 more. There's a lot of youngsters been brought in. So you have to give Ruben Amorim a chance to turn these players around. And when you look at the finances, United aren't in a scattergun approach. They haven't got the money. And I think when you look at Ineos, Ratcliffe and all that lot, what brought Ruben Amorim, they're looking at this summer. And Ruben Amorim has been determined to let us all know it's all about pre-season and getting the time to shape these players. And if you look at, listen, Rasmus Højlund could play outstanding. I mean, outstanding in pre-season in America, them games there. But it won't change people's minds. But I don't think United are going to change their mind in their approach. It just won't change. People have got their opinion. Fans have got their opinions, and I understand that. I'm not happy with Højlund. I think he should have done better. I think he should have improved. But the thing is, I have to watch pre-season to see if he improves.
Yeah, I'm just going to go into the chat. I did see a comment earlier on from Compass Smurf, which was asking a question to all of yous out there, really. And it says, questions to all the people that want Cesco. Can you care to point out one good game where he looks like a 70 million signing? I've even asked Leipzig fans and they can't actually give any. So that's a question to everyone out there on Benjamin Sesko. Nikos P says, Vivel knows him very well and it's pushing for Cesco. I mean, I've mentioned a few times, even yesterday, my first choice target would be Ollie Watkins, and I've not changed my mind on that. I've been saying it for a very long time. Premier League proven, and he solves a big problem that we've currently got now.
I think
scoring goals.
I think what you see in the transfer windows, you get a lot of hype by fans and everything, and especially when it comes to goal scorers and that. This might be just a case of that. And if people can't point to it, then there is a little bit of a worry. You know, it's I want this player. People like this player. I'm not too sure. I did agree with you. Ollie Watkins at the moment, he's the front runner for me because I don't see anyone else. Can we do a deal? Did say it yesterday. Can we do a deal, swap deal, get Garnacho involved, things like that? You know, we even hear conversations about Martinez possibly as an option. You just don't know. For me, it all points to Watkins. Cesco, not for me.
Yeah, for me, Watkins, I think some people's opinion on it, I don't think it actually rings true, makes sense. A lot of people seem to think he's just a runner in behind the actual defenders, and he gives you a lot more than that. The intensity with pressing from the front and his link-up play is undervalued, I think, as well.
I just want Watkins because of his Premiership experience. You can debate all day long as far as I'm concerned. He does this, he does that. Not interested. I watch him and he's a very effective player. That's how I look at it. He scores goals and he creates chaos up there. And he's got a work rate like not many people up front have got. And that's what I like, and that's what United need. Yeah. Yes, I go back to it, and we did mention it the other month, to be honest with you. At that age, is he the one? But you have to look at it now. If United can get something done, we've got players there to move on. Their value's gone down, and we just might be able to do a swap deal with a few quid involved. You just don't know. But for me, Watkins, he is the man. What's needed now? We cannot, as I see it, and many other fans out there see it, we cannot go into the start of this season relying on Rasmus Hojlund up front on his own. We need other options as a striker, and he needs to improve, and he needs to learn from a good quality Premier League striker, and Watkins is that.
You did mention before, tell me if I'm right or wrong here, that you believe they will sign a striker, but later on in the window. Yeah. To me, I think a lot of fans out there would then see that as a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to maybe what's currently been going on then in the squad, in the games in pre-season. And if you are going to get a striker later on in the window when the Premier League season's kicked off, I mean, it's still then going to take a striker time, especially if they're moving from abroad, to settle into the team, the environment, and especially the Premier League. So if that is the case, again, it's another tick for me for Ollie Watkins, already Premier League proven, not a lot of an adjustment needed. Yeah,
people might look at it as a knee-jerk reaction if we go to the wire on the transfer window 1st of September. We all know, we're all demanding it, get them in now. That doesn't look the case. And I think when you look at the Mbeumo, the way that dragged on, United had to have a lot of patience. They have to structure the deal and everything. And that's the way it is at the moment. United are under pressure with the PSR. They are just like, the instalments are going into next year and the year after and all that. And I think they have to be clever from a financial point of view. So at the end, that's how I see it. I don't see anyone on the radar where United can just go, let's get him now. It's not working that way. They are under pressure from a PSR point of view. They will get a striker. They have to get a striker, but it does not depend on selling Rasmus Højlund. No, not in my opinion. I know what he's saying, Ornstein, and I value quite a lot of what he says, but I think he's just like, just talking for talking's sake here. It's not what United are saying. He's giving his opinion, just like we are now. And I've always gave my opinion on Rasmus Højlund, regardless of the attack on me from out there about supporting Rasmus Højlund. I don't support him as the main striker for Manchester United. It's what Man United want. Certainly not. It's not what we expect. I'm just expecting more improvement under Ruben Amorim with Rasmus Højlund this year. He's got one more year as far as I'm concerned. But I'll tell you what, there'll be a meltdown if he does not perform in this pre-season. I can see it because people have got their opinion on different players. And when it comes to Rasmus Højlund, I think it's clear-cut. He's got to perform. But I still don't think if he's outstanding on the pre-season that anyone's going to change their mind.
I actually think signing someone like Ollie Watkins as well helps Rasmus Højlund in a way. Because Watkins comes in, he's Premier League proven. For me, he's still got more than enough in the tank, in the legs, for the next 3 to 4 years. When you look at how many games he's played in his entire career, when you're looking at some players who are aged 27 or even 26, where he's the main man for United, and Højlund can come in for a game, 2 games, and sit out for 3 games, but also give him a little bit of experience to learn from a top striker like Watkins as well. And you never know if that next season would do him the world of good himself.
The majority of fans out there, I read the comments and that, I speak to lots of people and that, you can bring in anyone you want, Kieron, and it will not help Rasmus Hojlund. That's what a lot of people think. And they think that the money they've paid for him, which was astronomical, right, has been a complete and utter waste of time. And at the moment, his stats and everything prove that.
Yeah, I just don't see it really. Don't get me wrong, he's a young lad, but he's still played a lot of football when you look at it, not just for United, over back in Italy as well, and onto the international stage. But I just don't see him as a striker and that lone striker. I think he'd probably be better in a striker position where there's 2 of them up front, maybe someone to play off, or he plays with another one, link-up play.
Well, that's not going to happen.
But as a lone striker, I'm just not seeing it right now.
No, none of us are seeing it. He's not seeing it. He just doesn't seem to see anything but what comes to him. You know, people out there just say he can't control the ball, he's always falling down and everything. But as a lone striker, it's a no-no. He cannot do it at the moment. So 2 strikers up front, I don't think that's in Ruben Amorim's plans whatsoever. So I think what he needs to do is bring a striker in who's got some quality, and he has to improve as and when he gets the chance. Højlund, I think the shirt is weighing too heavy on him, to be honest with you, and he might need a break and then come back revitalised. This summer, you'll see Rasmus Højlund with his attitude and see where he's at.
Something I was thinking about the other day, sometimes you can sort of rewrite history in your head of what's happened the previous season. But he did miss, was it the first 4, maybe 5 Premier League games at the start of last season due to a hamstring injury, Højlund. So do you think that had any effect on him whatsoever in actually getting started and kicking on when he actually come back? Because we know what players are like when they don't get a full pre-season down in them, and especially when something like that's happened to set you off at the start of the season.
Yeah, we can listen. People have just been like tearing their hair out.
I know, but I'm just mentioning it because you need to give all the facts. I'm trying to give a balanced opinion here. Not that I'm saying that should be something for Højlund as like an excuse, but you know these things need to be factored in, surely. Yeah,
but you've got to look at it with Højlund. You've got to look at it over a 2-year period. Has anything actually changed from day one? So for me, his assists, it's just, I look at last year and where were all his assists? There was no assists. There was no, lack of goals and everything. You look at it over a 2-year period, it's not been good. It's not what United fans demand. It's not what we expect. We're poor, and Rasmus Højlund up front has just not helped because opportunities have come Rasmus's way, and he's not been capable of taking them opportunities a lot of the time on his heels. That's how people see it. But 2 years. Some people have been screaming, get him out long enough. But as I go back to it, this is my opinion. I've always believed Rasmus will stay this year with the club, expecting Ruben Amorim to improve him. And if he doesn't get any improvement out of him, I think the assessment might be made at the end of the pre-season in America if he doesn't show signs of improving. That is a possibility.
I mean, I'm still a big believer on whether Manchester United sign a striker or not will actually determine where they actually finish in the Premier League, considering what we've seen last season. 44 Premier League goals scored. Obviously, Cunha and actual Mbeumo do add to that, where it's going to give you a bit more creativity and goals scored between them. And I looked at a stat with Mbeumo last season. He attempted more crosses than any other Premier League player last season. I think it was 202 crosses he attempted. So we always mentioned over the last 2 years with the likes of Garnacho, Rashford, Anthony, etc., there's not been enough crosses from out wide. So maybe Mbeumo solves that problem as well, and that could help Højlund possibly.
Mbeumo coming into Manchester United has created a problem for Ruben Amorim, especially because who plays in the number 10? I just look at it, him and Cunha there. They'll be fighting. You've got Bruno, you've got Mason Mount, I just haven't got a clue. And then you've got Colby Mainu. This
Xerxes.
problem has to be, Xerxes as well. I forgot all about him. He should be coming back. So I look at it, United's success really depends on what they're going to do with Bruno. Is he going to be the number 10? The Leeds game and a few games last season, Ruben Amorim is playing Bruno in the midfield, and a lot of people have been screaming, and I mean screaming, about that midfield. I was shocked, Kieron was shocked at the amount of people who are just saying what's going on in that midfield. Nothing seems to have changed, especially with the Leeds game. Okay, we can have our excuses and everything, but the thing is, where is Bruno? It's pivotal how we play in that midfield. And me and Kieron, I know some people have joined as subscribers and that over the last few months, but let me tell you, I and Kieron went on, as did Webby, about that midfield, how wide open it was. And when Bruno plays in that midfield, especially in midfield 2, it's so wide open. And I don't see how Ruben Amorim's going to... Well, he has to solve it. It's not that I don't see how. He has to solve it. And he's brought people in who actually play in Bruno's position up front. It really, the midfield is key. We can't be open again. We can't be open. We're getting destroyed. Getting destroyed by teams who just run through. So for me, I always want Bruno, the number 10.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit surprised with the reaction just based on one game, really, with the midfield too, where I felt like we were saying it all last season about that midfield too, that Bruno can't play in a midfield too, whether that's with Casemiro or Agate. I mean, I made my mind up there and then, and I won't be changing it on Bruno in the midfield too. When I looked at the Tottenham away game in the Premier League and he had Casemiro in there with him. Casemiro, I don't think done too bad that game, to be honest with you. But Bruno Fernandes was all over the place in that game. You look then to another game away to Everton. I think it was 2-0 down and then in the second half. But like you get with most games, the last 20 minutes, it becomes wide open. And Bruno was dropped into that deeper role into midfield. But he has all the time in the world on the ball then. And a lot of other teams do in the last 20 minutes in midfield. So he's got that time to carry the ball forward, pick a pass out. But at the start of games, no matter whether you're coming up against the top of the league now or the bottom of the league, there's intensity now in the midfield too. And I think Bruno does struggle at times to combat that. And especially when he's being given instructions maybe to man mark or go and help out with the wing back situation. I just don't see him ever being a top draw player in that midfield too. As a number 10, yeah, definitely all day long. I'm happy for him to be in my starting 11, but not in a midfield too. And my mind won't change on that.
Well, when you talk about transfers and that, people who you need in the team, players and all that, the midfield is the main one. What people talk about, we need a new midfield player. Everyone's screaming that, and I mean the screaming. Yeah. And I can't argue with that. But the thing is, what's realistic? What is it we're going to bring in here? We've just been talking about £30 million, a lot of money. That's what United have got, possibly, for bringing in a striker, towards a striker. Can we buy a midfield player? It's too open. Where's the big, strong, strapping midfield player? That's what people want, and it's too weak, but it's too open. But I think that's down to Ruben Amorim, why it's too open.
I'm going to go back to something what we said a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago, when all that talk around Bruno Fernandes going to Saudi, and a lot of people was also having their opinions. Would you take, let's say, 100 million for Bruno? And I always said to you, wait till that start of the season comes, them first few games, and if Bruno's put in the midfield too, you watch the media and a lot of fans out there, and maybe quite rightly so, dependent on the games, but we'll be saying we should have took 100 million. We should have got Bruno to take that deal from Saudi Arabia to invest that then into players in that midfield area, because it's clear as day, really. United playing 2 number 10s of the quality of Cunha and Mbeumo, that Bruno in that number 10 role could be not needed, to be honest. It might be sat on the subs more than what them two are.
Well, I just look at Bruno. For me, it's a no-no in that midfield, because when things aren't going right and we are getting caught open, his arms go in the air and all that, and he loses concentration. We've seen it loads and loads of times. So if Ruben Amorim is going to use Bruno in the midfield, then I worry. I really, really worry, because we're going to be too wide open.
Yeah, I just don't like it. I've been saying it for months, and some of yous out there might disagree with that, but, you know, maybe this season, I mean, maybe we might start seeing Bruno Fernandes taking a rest on that subs bench more than we've ever seen here at Manchester United, because the quality of them two players that are coming in and them 10 positions, I mean, it's going to be difficult for Bruno to get in there. It really is.
Listen, Bruno wants to play every game. We've got less games. And at the end of the day, if you're going to rest a player, what you could have got £100 million for, what's the point? Should have got the 100 million, should have took the 100 million. If you're going to sideline your captain and rest him when there's actually less games, people will just scream, we should have took the 100 million and gone and got someone who's going to last for the next five, possibly 6 years in the midfield. It's too open, and it's always going to be too open. I don't care what anyone says. When you've got Bruno in there, that's the problem in midfield. All the good work Bruno's done since he's been at Manchester United is further forward. So Ruben Amorim seems to be trying to put him in that midfield and has done it many times. So for me...
I just get the sense that he's then trying to just fit Bruno in. I mean, like I say, I sound like a broken record, but to go out in one summer transfer window, buy 2 number 10s where Bruno's always done his best work, I mean, it's then basically saying he's either going to be on the subs bench a lot more than what we've seen, or he's definitely going to be playing more often than not in that midfield too, which I think a lot of fans over the years with the eye test says it doesn't work, especially against top teams.
Well, if Ruben Amorim is going to work with a small squad, right? The players he signed, the players what are already there, right? How does he fit all these players into one position? Because that's basically what we're talking about. We're basically talking about one position. We are overloaded in that, right? And light on strikers. And when I say light, I mean it's non-existent on strikers. So it's a striker we've got to get, but the big worry, people, that's the concern, the midfield. I just can't get over how all season we were so critical, getting thrashed at Old Trafford by teams you would never expect, and not even really getting in the game in some of them because the midfield's wide open. And people did point that out against Leeds, but I don't take that criticism against Leeds because it was just a matter of getting on the pitch. Even if we'd have won 7-0, I wouldn't have praised Manchester United. And I did say that before the game, a couple of days before. So for me, striker, midfield player, if it's possible, that's what people are demanding. And obviously, we go back to the old scenario, Onana, but that's just a never-ending saga.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to read a couple of comments off before I get into that question. Ray Carl Brown, thanks for your super chat, my mate. He says, I never wanted Rasmus as the number 1 centre-forward or lone centre-forward. I was sold on Rasmus as a development player.
Yes.
And the club forced him to be the number 1 on the young lads. And I think you bang on, to be honest with you, that comment, mate.
I think we've always said that Rasmus was coming in to learn and not be the main striker, and that's put pressure on him, and probably that pressure, the shirt, the weight of it and everything, should never have been the main striker. He wasn't a prolific goal scorer, and that's what United need. So he was there to learn, get an education, grow into the role. He's not been allowed to grow into the role, and I think the pressure has got to him. But United should have addressed it last year.
I'm taking it with the reaction in our comment section on yesterday's video about the need for a midfielder this summer. I'm taking it then that a lot of yous out there aren't completely sold on Agata being that man in midfield and that defensive midfielder. Let me know what you think in the chat so we can discuss it. Ray Carl Brown's come back again with a super chat. I love your channel. Your guys' opinions are very honest and not agenda-driven. And everything you guys are saying are spot on about the centre-forward situation. Thanks for the kind words there, my mate. I'll be sending you a tenner in the post for them kind words. Thank you.
I think if you just play 2 in midfield, don't matter who you're playing there, whether they're quality or not, they're going to get overrun. United was sussed out a long time ago, playing that system, and they were overrun. It was so easy. You know, I go back to quotes from managers. Took 5 minutes to work out United, come to Old Trafford, and we just just wait, and then we pick them off right through the middle, and then that's the game won. Lots of managers were critical and dismissive of our midfield. So it doesn't matter whether you've got this player in there or that player. It's how they set up, and it just sets up so open.
Nikos P says, Mbeumo and Cunha have the drive and will go back and help out the midfield. August the 17th, we will see. But then again,
you want to attack.
I'm saying I'm right here with my opinion. I just want to know yours out there. But, you know, do the number 10s have to get back and get deep into midfield? Because then when we're transitioning and we get the ball back, who's up there up top?
One man on his own, Højlund.
Who can actually then go and hold the ball. I mean, take out the number 10s and the centre forward. You know, you've got a back three, you've got then the defensive midfielder and then 2 wing backs. I mean, isn't that enough there to defend against like any counter-attacks or just opposition threats in general? I want my number 10s, or at least one of them, up there with the centre forward, which we didn't really see last season, did we?
What?
With actually attacking going forward, you know, with the number 10s, I mean.
All we seen was a player up there on his own without support. And when the opportunity to come to give him the ball, he never got the ball. It's been so poor. But asking players to come running back, your Cunha and your Mbeumo, for instance, leaves Højlund up there on his own. And that's why he's isolated. But he never did any... He's never did himself any favours, because when the ball did come, did he win any headers? Not with my eye test, he didn't. Did he stand up to the challenge of a centre-half? Sometimes he had 2 centre-halves on him. He's up there on his own. Tough task for anyone, but really, he has to improve in a few areas. And I'm telling you, for a big lad like that, he doesn't win the ball. He doesn't win the ball in the air, and he has to improve. And I can go on and on about Højlund, but it's this pre-season, and United aren't looking to sell him. That's how I see it. But that might change on the pre-season. I don't expect it to, but hey, football, you know the score. It's a funny old game.
Yeah, it's never as true as saying the best form of defence is attack as well. And
well, that's United.
Yeah, no, of course, but I just think too many games, what I've seen last season, there was far too many bodies back in our own half, especially when you're looking at the back three then converting into a back five, where it's just a solid straight line, which, let's face it, a lot of teams still found it easier to pass through and score goals. So hopefully with Cunha and Mbeumo, they can spring them attacks going forward and closing down better as well than what we've seen last season and previous seasons as well, to help out instead of having to drop deep.
I can't analyse last season, and I can't keep going over last season.
It was crap.
Right? And that's what it was. Utter crap. So anyone who's out there who does analysts and all that, right, they don't need to do, this marker, that. It was crap. End of. And it has to improve. The midfield's too wide open. It's as simple as that, okay? Once the attack comes on us, it all falls down. The defence falls back, the big gap's there, and then the gap to the forward. It was crap. So trying to analyse it from my point of view, that's a simple my analysis. It was crap. There's no defending anything. Players weren't good enough. Players didn't want to run. So at the end of the day, that sums up last year. For me to analyse it, I can't, because all I watched was crap.
D11 from our members club says, I can't wait for the season to start.
I can.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I couldn't wait for the Leeds game the other day because I just wanted to see players out on the pitch. I wanted to try and see a game of football. And, you know, it was a disappointing game. It was poor. So for me, come the USA, I want a game of football. And if we get beat against West Ham on the 27th, we get beat. But I want to see change. I want to see something what gives me like a vision or something to look at with a bit of positivity going into the season. But what that has to come from Ruben Amorim. I want to see change. I want to see the players working together, moving on the attack together, defending together. That's what I want to see. And I think we should all look at that. But people will not accept getting beat on a pre-season, and people won't accept us winning on a pre-season. Oh, it's just a pre-season game. It doesn't matter. Me and Kieron sat here will not win. no matter what way I look at that game against West Ham, I will be attacked by people out there. If we lose, I'll get attacked by saying it's a friendly. You've got to look at it. We're building up to momentum, getting fitness and everything, and I'm seeing a little bit of this and that. That's fine. Yes, we got beat. It doesn't matter. People will go in on me. But if we win and I go, oh, what a great game that was. Fuck, come on. We beat them 4-0. I will get criticised. So you can't win from this side of the camera. So what I will do, I will stay, as they say, a steady Eddie and look at it as pre-season, not as the start of the season.
It's just all about giving your honest opinion, and I
will give it.
And that's what we always do, regardless of what narratives or people's opinions out there is. That's what we're here for, to give honesty. And with you just saying about pre-season, I mean, all I'm looking at is basically these players being match fit and ready to go at the start of the Premier League, and that's against Arsenal. I mean, yeah, we want to win every game, and that goes for pre-season, but my focus is on the Premier League season, and I go back to January again, and I've mentioned it before. Them first 9 to 10 games, what we play up until I think it's the November international break, I want to see improvement. And I've said to you, if I don't see any improvement during the pre-season, that's fine. I'm not going to lose my head over it.
No.
It's that first game against Arsenal and the rest of them that matter. And if I don't see an improvement, especially if we've got the likes of Cunha and Mbeumo still available, hopefully they're match fit, and a striker in, there's no excuses not to see improvement for me.
Well, when you bring in players, and hopefully we bring in 1, maybe 2 more players, you just don't know, you would expect improvement. We demand improvement. Don't expect. We demand improvement, and quite right. But Ruben Amorim will demand improvement from the players what were here last year, okay? He's expecting improvement, but it's down to Ruben Amorim. So after 9 games and none of us see change, I don't even think it'll get to 9 games before there's a meltdown. I think the first 3 games, but I do believe, right, that the mood in the camp, the mood in the club is slowly changing, especially when you hear that there's a plan going forward. Ruben Amorim's on board. They know what they're doing. So for me, I see the first 3 games as all winnable, and I expect to win.
I'm just asking for improvement. I'm not asking for like significant progress next season where we're up around 4th, 5th place. I just want to see improvement. And that should be the least we expect here as Manchester United fans, because I'm sure there's other managers out there in the Premier League, managers who are currently out of a job, who will actually look at the Manchester United squad, the first team, even look at some of the youngsters and think, I'll be able to get a better tune out of this team than what they're doing, you know, under Erik ten Hag at the start of last season, and Amorim as well taking over from that. So, you know, for me, I still think there's massive support in the background for Ruben, and amongst a lot of us fans as well. I'm still supporting him, because especially with all the changes that we've seen with certain players being shifted out or isolated, so they're on the right track. It's just up to Ruben Amorim to coach these players and get the best out of him for me. But going into the chat, Zamiasi, thanks for your super chat. Tony, that performance against Leeds will have to be better on the opening day against Arsenal. Don't worry, Gyökeres will be there for us.
You can have him. And listen, teams are getting beat, which you wouldn't expect in pre-season, because that's pre-season, because you're putting on 11 players, then you're putting on another 11 players at half-time, then you're taking 5 of them off. That's what pre-season's all about. Results don't matter. It's one thing only, getting fit and getting used to each other, especially the new boys, and then getting a system ready and ready for that first day. And that's what we have to be. That's what Arsenal have to be. So when you talk about Arsenal, you know, we'll beat you, don't worry.
Fred Cramtham, I don't think I mentioned it earlier, has gifted 5 memberships.
Thank you, Fred.
Fred the Red, the legend. 5 people have been gifted them memberships. A big thank you to Fred. Neil Crowd, I think it is, has got a super chat. Thanks for your super chat, mate. If we could raise 80 million, would you go for Wharton? I'm presuming you mean Wharton from Crystal Palace. I mean, for 80 million, mate, there's a lot more. I mean, I'd go up to Newcastle and go and get Bruno Guimaraes or Tonali or someone like that for 80 million, mate, to be honest. But I understand with Wharton, he's a bit younger. The whole strategy around Man United at the moment seems to be like young, talented players with a resale value. But I mean, for 80 million, I think there'd probably be more midfielders out there I'd probably choose before him, to be perfectly honest, because I still think we need players for the here and now. We've got the likes of Kobbie Mainoo, who's a talent, and I think we've got too many of that really in and around the squad at the moment, mate.
Manchester United ain't going to waste, I wouldn't say waste, spend a load of money when they're looking at the talent they're bringing through. And that's what they're going to bring through in the pre-season and put in the squad. They're going to add 4, possibly 5 youngsters to this squad, bringing them in and out, and hopefully that they get good and able to challenge in this squad. That's what they're looking at. That is the design of the plan going forward long term. Bringing people through, bringing the youth through. They've brought loads of people in. We've got young people in there. Kobbie Mainoo has to improve, but the improvement, well, why he wasn't good last year, in my opinion, is because Ruben Amorim didn't play him in the right position. And that's the problem when I go back to what I said about Cunha, Mbeumo, Mason Mount, Xerxes and Bruno. There you are. Mainoo, great player, just not played in the right position.
Spotless Leopard from our members club says, a lot of our hard times are done. These 2 signings are massive because we'll score more goals and there'll be more signings. Plus, no European football is a massive advantage. And yeah, that just adds to the list as well of what some people will see out there of no excuses for Amorim, because he's got more time on that training pitch to get his instructions over to the players.
You can't have excuses if you're Ruben Amorim when all you ever did was complain about not having time on the training pitch. He's got plenty of time. So he has to turn it round. He's got the time. There is no excuses. There is no excuses. As I see it right at the moment, time is on his side.
Yeah, a lot of you still getting involved in the chat. Will O'Donnell, Tony, you expect United to beat Arsenal? Seriously?
I expect United to win the first 3 games. That's what I expect. Seriously.
I mean, sometimes when United are like, I remember going to Anfield with you, which we left at half time, I won't get into that. But, you know, that game before it, it was all like, Liverpool are going to smash us 7-0. You know, we're going to do this. It's going to be the repeat, etc. Before City as well last season, in the December, I think it was, you know, Liverpool away that season, last season, Arsenal away in the FA Cup. I mean, you've got to have some sort of belief going in on a match day, surely that your team's got a chance of winning the game.
First couple of games of the season, there is always strange results. Always. I remember Liverpool go to Aston Villa getting absolutely thrashed. Absolutely thrashed first game of the season. Football is a funny game. Early doors, you can catch people out. And it's down to Ruben Amorim, right, to get the mindset. And a lot of it is the mindset. Like I say about Højlund, the mindset, the shirt, too heavy for him. Too much to do on his own. People relying on him. You've got to do this, you're the striker. So for me, it's the mindset. And if Ruben Amorim gets that mindset, we can spring the opportunity to beat Arsenal at Old Trafford. Tough task, I agree, right? Every game last year was a tough task. We never stood up to it. We have to stand up to it now. And I want to see, right, the mindset changing. Work for each other.
I mean, take yourself back last season at Old Trafford against Arsenal, ended 0-0. Don't get me wrong, Arsenal were all over us in that first half. We were camped in our own half, but the second half, I think we had a couple of goal-scoring opportunities that we should have put in the back of the net in the first 5 or 10 minutes. And yeah, for me, them games will happen. I'm not really focusing on the first 4, 5, 6 teams that finished there last season, because anything can happen, and Man United can get themselves up for them games. It's the teams like your Bournemouth, your Fulham, your Crystal Palace, who have absolutely tore us apart in games over the last 2 seasons, where I want to see the improvement, where we're coming out, not getting beat, getting the 3 points on the table.
Look, I'm focusing on the first 3 games. I'm focusing on the first 3 games. We've got to win them. I can't remember, because I'm traumatised, and I mean traumatised, by last season. He just mentioned Arsenal, Kieron did. I can't remember the game. I'm serious. I can't remember the game. I'm traumatised by a lot of what went on.
Ericsson actually, man.
I don't want to know. I can't. I'm traumatised by a lot of the football I seen, because it was the worst I've ever experienced, right? And I don't want to focus. I want to move on. I just can't concentrate on last year. There's no reason. I know how bad it was. We talk about Højlund. I know how bad he was. We talk about other players, but we also got to talk about Ruben Amorim, how poor he was at times with his positioning. And I go back to Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo was just moved around all over and he was wasted last year. So Ruben Amorim's got to get it right.
Yeah, just
traumatised.
It sounds like it.
No, I am traumatised today. I don't know whether because it's the weather or anything, but it's really hanging on me. I didn't sleep well as well.
I've got Cunha in, we've got an Mbeumo, but still positivity there that we will still get players in this summer, surely, to like fix the squad and make an improvement.
The media are already out on Cunha talking about he's got a bad attitude, late for training, this, that and the other.
Yeah,
They're already starting a narrative, okay? So let's not forget what the media really is all about. They're starting already. I already heard. Maybe that's what's got me in a bad mood, but maybe that's why I'm traumatised, right? But these players, they're looking for anything. These media, and they started it this morning. Okay, I was listening to him talking about Cunha, our manager. I think it was O'Neill, the manager at the time under Cunha.
Gary O'Neill.
Gary O'Neill. Someone was talking to him, and they were coming out with rumours and stories about his attitude, turning up late, not caring, and all that. Hang on a minute, it started, and you have to expect more now. So maybe that's what's got me in this mood. But traumatised, I really am traumatised by last year. And I think everyone else out there. And I think maybe that was part of the reaction of seeing what they seen in the Leeds game, that they just didn't see anything different and that they'd forgot what the game was and they can't accept it. And I do understand it. I do understand the frustration and the annoyance. So for me, when people rant and rave and all that, and it doesn't make sense, I do understand why, because people are traumatised by what they put their life into watching Manchester United. And
there was times last season we was ranting and raving because we couldn't believe what we were seeing at times. It was just the repeated patterns of poor football.
Yeah, but that's traumatisation now. The season's over, and the Europa League final didn't help. That no. I think that cemented it. And I just can't remember the games. It's just like when United last won the league. To be honest with you, I thought that year there was some poor sides, and I can't remember that many good games that year, to be honest with you. So it's not just because they were bad. I'm traumatised last year. I think back to when we last won the league, and people think, oh, exciting this. I don't remember that year being exciting, to be perfectly honest with you. Or maybe we'd won it that many times, I was just blasé to it.
Yeah, getting too comfortable. But when them good times do come again, you will have to appreciate him. Luckily, I'm in a generation what's seen it all. I just feel sorry for some of these younger kids who you see in a match day, big smiles around him with the mum and dads, the parents.
I don't feel sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for him, right? I feel sorry for them when they go and watch.
I've seen kids crying.
No, but that's part and parcel of the pain. We've all been through the pain. You have to take the pain to understand the good times and that. You know, when I watched United when I first started watching in 1970 and that, right, it was bad, it was poor. You had to take the pain to understand the good times, and I think that's what it is throughout life in many different circles, not just football and that. You have to understand pain to sort of enjoy the good times, and when the good times come, then just jump on it and enjoy it. But yes, it is bad watching kids cry or suffer and all that.
Yeah.
But we all suffer in different ways as kids.
Yeah, I do get your point there, and I think you're right. And I think going through the bad times as well, and if you stick with it, stick with your team, week on week, I think that's what makes a supporter more than a fan. Because I do see differences in between a fan of Manchester United and a supporter, and I don't mean a supporter has to go to the games week on week or go to a handful of games each week. There's a difference, I do think, there.
Listen, if you're a supporter, doesn't matter where you're from in this world, right? You support Manchester, you have to suffer. You have to suffer to understand, and you have to suffer, right, to understand the generations before you, okay, what they went through and why they're still here, like myself, right, because it is your life. And that's why I go about last year. I'm traumatized. I can't remember a lot of the games. Just can't remember because I suffered, and I suffered badly in many different ways.
Too much night nurse last season for you, I think that.
No, I enjoyed the suffering. It's part and parcel of life. I get that. I understand it, right? I do growl a lot.
Yeah, well, hopefully that changes this season, like I say, and we see some improvement. I'll stick to what I've been saying since January. Them first 9 or 10 games leading up to that November international break, I need to see improvement there. I think it's enough time for Ruben Amorim to show improvement and improve some of these players. And let's hope there's another signing or two still to come in on top of Cunha and Mbeumo. But I'd just like to thank you all for joining us today in the chat. It's been popping off in there, as usual, a mix of different opinions, and that's what we aim for.
Yeah.
So continue the conversation in the chat. Smash a like on today's video as well to help support the channel. And if it's your first time watching, please subscribe. We're not far and we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. So come and join us and get on that ride. Thanks everyone for joining us. Enjoy.